What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel once again. Now, as you saw in the last video, we revealed the colour of my MX-5 engine bay, and in today's video what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting the reassembly process on the MX-5 by putting all of the body panels back together and starting the reassembly under the engine bay. But before we get to that, we have an issue to solve, and it's quite a serious issue which is commonly found on most MX-5s around the country, especially in the UK because of the climate. Now, what this issue is, it is rust. Now, luckily for me, I bought a really good condition MX-5, so rust is very minimal on the car. But I think I did mention previously in this project, when we took off the front arches, between the arches and the sills, there was a patch of rust. Now, luckily for some, only surface rust, so that can be sorted fairly easily, but we want to sort that before we put it back together. Whilst we're in there, we're going to neutralise it, paint over it, and protect it. So the MX-5 is solid for years to come. So as you can see, we've gone over the problem area so far with a wire brush to take over all of the loose bits of rust, and then we're going to go ahead and give it a cane of Loctite Rust Remedy, which basically neutralises the rust and it's sustainable, gives it a nice, clean, proper finish, basically, which you can then paint and seal. So that's going to stop this rust from reoccurring and stop this rust from spreading. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to neutralise this rust, and then we're going to start reassembling the car whilst we're waiting for that to dry, and once that's dried, we can go ahead and coat it with some paint. Just to give you a kind of rundown on what we've done, if you know, in the diagnostic box on your MX-5, when you turbo the car, you need to jump the fuel pump and the ground so the fuel pump's on continuously as soon as the ignition's on. Now what we've done, all we've done is we've cut off that diagnostic box because it's taken up space, we never use it, and we've just basically connected those two wires together rather than jumping them, and the rest of them we've just blanked off, so they're there if we need to use them in the future, but for the time being, we don't need them at all. So we've done that, and that's cleared up a load of space on this side. Also, if you remember, I don't know if I can access this cable very well, but down here, what I've got in my hand, that's for the mass air sensor, and that needs to be connected to the intake air temperature sensor. So this one on the 95 MX-5 is a 5-pin connector, and we just need to jump the second and fifth, or the first and fifth, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'll look it up in the video which I filmed before, and we'll jump those. We'll just cut off this sensor and wire that in. So yeah, we're going to do that on this side as well, just having a brief look. To feed all these wires through, I did have to cut off the indicator on the front, so we've got two blank wires here which should be connected to this. So all we're going to do, again, strip those, connect the cables, solder them together, and then that's all fixed. And then yeah, that front side of the engine bay is pretty much there, so we're going to finish that off in today's video. And as you can see on this side, it's pretty much clear. There's a few cables at the back which need to be plugged in to all sorts of bits and pieces. For example, windscreen wipers, so that's the motor. We're going to do a bit of painting on that to clean it up slightly, to make it look a lot cleaner. We're going to clean the tow eye hooks as well and paint those, and do another few bits. Now if we do get to it in this video, we're going to do the whole front section as well, so get the intercooler in and oil cooler in as well, and that's going to allow us to put the bumper back on and actually have a look at what this finished product is going to look like. So as you can see, this is the 5-plug mass air sensor harness. Now what we've done is we've cut out pins 1 and 3, which is the black and green wire and the red and black wire. They're the two connectors which are going to connect to our intake air temperature wiring harness, the one which we used before. And I've just cut those and stripped those wires, and I'm going to do the exact same on these, and then we're going to attach them together and solder them. Now, because the intake air temperature sensor has no polarity, we can join these either way round. So we're going to cross them over and literally cross them over and twist them around each other, just like so. Now, before we solder these, we want to make sure that our heat shrink tubing fits over our new connection. So this one needs to be adjusted slightly. Okay. And then that fits over lovely. Now this one's slightly tighter because that was the last piece of that size I had, so hopefully this is going to fit over there. Yeah, it's a bit tight, but it fits over. Now we're only going to fill in these wires with solder, so that'll be perfectly fine. So let's heat up the soldering iron. I'll show you how to solder these properly. So when soldering, we don't want to melt the solder with the soldering iron and kind of try to feed it in. We want to heat up the wire and then feed the solder into the wire directly, and that will fill it all in and give you a nice clean finish. Now it does take quite some time for this solder to heat up. As you can see, it's not doing anything at the moment. Normally once you get a little bit of solder onto the wire, then it all kind of does its thing together. So we're trying to do that now. Get our heat shrink tubing, just put it straight over the connection, as so. And then once your heat shrink tubing is completely over, you're going to go ahead with a lighter and just shrink it down. Now the reason behind doing this, rather than what I did previously, just putting these into the pins, is we want to make this as permanent as possible, but also we're trying to conceal as many of these wires as possible as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut these wires to the harness, because we don't want this big plug here. That was one of the main reasons for doing it, but I'm going to cut them at slightly different heights. You'll see why in a second. So that's one plug, which we can bin off. And we've got 3 of these. Now I'm going to seal these by putting a little bit of heat shrink over the end of these and sealing it. But just in the odd occasion that it does go through there and tries to hit against anything, the ends of the wires can't touch because they're all different. So what you could actually do is you could just tape all this together with electrical tape. But I'm just going to put some heat shrink tubing over each one of these and seal it just to be on the safe side. So there you have it. That's how you join wiring connections properly. And now you know how to do that, I'm going to go ahead and film a time lapse. I'm going to go ahead and rejoin the indicator at the front. We're also going to paint these bits, which we're going to bolt back onto the engine bay later today. Right guys, as you can see here, right outside of the engine bay, the wire's almost completely tucked, and as you'll see, this is the only one which needs work. But this cable basically needs to be extended. There's 4 cables which need extending, so we can route that around the back and plug it in, just so you'll be kind of concealed around the back of there rather than it going straight across there. But that's the only thing that needs doing on this side. As you can see, all our wires come out here. We've got ones for the lights, so that's going to go on the indicator on the turn signal intake. And the rest of those are all plugged in under there. We've got our one which we extended earlier for our intake air temperature sensor. Our horns are plugged in, and this is the one for the fan. So that just needs to be wired up. That's why we get the brand new radiator. So that side is completely done in terms of wiring. Over on this side, we're having a bit more trouble because, as you can see, it's a hell of a lot of wires. So it's quite difficult to conceal them. Now, all of these wires which are kind of coming down from the fuse box on that side, that all needs to go this way into the engine and down that way, basically, so around the back of the engine. This one needs to come all under here because that's going to need to be plug in all the same little bits that go under here like normal. And we've got some more which go to the front of the engine, which are going to come out like under here into the engine, so you won't see those when you're standing up, and we'll conceal them basically. Because the plan is we don't want either of these arches to have anything on them, exactly like this side, so it looks nice and clean. So we're going to do the exact same thing on this side. Now the problem we're having is this fuse box. Now there's a few options. You can relocate it under the dash, which is going to be a lot more work than I want to do. Also normally it is here, right in the way of our arch. Now I'm thinking if we spin it, push it back and have that tightened in, we can have it kind of like that, which does kind of keep it out of the way. It sticks out a lot more than it does on that side, but I think that's the best we're going to get, and it's not going to do much in terms of the cut of the engine bay because we have our brake booster there and clutch master cylinder there, so it will just be along the back wall of that. I think that's the best we're going to get it. Only other option which I am thinking is maybe will it fit between the arch and the wall of that, which is going to be really, really tight, I'm thinking. And the only other problem with that is accessibility. You'll have to completely take off the arch in order to get to the fuse box. So I'm thinking that's what we're going to do. Now, in order to mount it there, we're going to need to make some brackets, which is where our trusty sheet of galvanised steel comes into play. So I've never made proper brackets before, so this is going to be a learning curve for me, which you're going to follow me on the journey of. So I'm going to try and make up some brackets for that. Now, if we take a closer look at the fuse box, we've got 2 holes here, and I want to attach, it's going to go like that. So we've got 2 holes on the bottom side of it basically, And we've got one point there, which we can screw into. And I don't know what we're going to use for the second one yet, but we'll get to that when we get to that, basically. What I'm going to just do is do one bracket, which is going to hold it onto that one. And then I can mark up where the second bracket's going to go. And hopefully that conceals it a bit better and it'll be out of the way. And hopefully look nice and clean. Because as you can see from the front, this side's looking pretty nice. And that side literally completely done. There's nothing else that needs to come through there. Obviously some wires need to come through from the inside to the outside, but we'll deal with that last. But in terms of the actual stock wiring, which is in the car, it's all the right hand side is completely done, apart from obviously plugging in these bits. But we need to put on the bumper to finish those off. But until we put on the bumper, we need to do this side exactly the same as we've done on that side. So before we can do that, the fuse box needs to be in place. So that's the next step. So without no further ado, I'm going to roll some clips of me making up a bracket for this. Might not be first time, but let's give it a go. So guys, as you can see, we've done a bit of cutting with the angle grinder. Now we've completely done the other side, and I'm replicating what I did on that side, basically on this side. Now, all of the cables are pretty much similar. Obviously, we have more cables on this side, because all of the engine cables go there as well. But we've got this big one, which won't fit through the hole, which is there, and I don't want to cut in two places and basically ruin the structure of the car. Now, I didn't actually quite know what this plug was, but with the help of Mark 1 MX5 Owners Club on Facebook, we have identified this as the OBD1 port, which we're going to chop. And the reason why we're going to chop it is because we've got an ME221, so we don't need the OBD1 port. We use a USB to plug it into the ECU. So we're going to get rid of this bad boy and, yeah, basically do the exact same thing as what we did over there. Cut the wires, tape them up, and then we're going to wire this wiring harness all underneath the arch, all down here. So let's set up a time lapse and get to work with this. Now, I did show you how to do all of the soldering on that side. So similarly, we have chopped off our indicator because that doesn't fit through the hole. We've got two wires there, we're just going to solder that back on after. Enough messing around, let's crack on and finish this wire tuck on this side. Now, all we've got wiring wise is that big load of wires there. Also, just a quick update on our fuse box. It's held in by one bracket at the moment. As you can see, it's slightly wobbly, so we need another bracket in there. But it's hidden as much as I can hide it without putting it behind the dash, and I'm quite happy with where it is there. It's still going to look super clean, so yeah, let's crack on and tuck these wires. And there we have it, guys. The MX5 is finally being pieced back together, and doesn't it look awesome? It's starting to look like a proper car again, with this little smiley face right there. But yeah, looks absolutely awesome. The bracket went really, really well for the fuse box relocation. I know on the standard car it is there, but it's a lot further in towards the middle of the engine bay, which we tucked under there as much as physically possible. And yeah, it's looking really, really clean. Now it still does look quite messy at the back. All of those wires need to be relocated and stuff, but we can't do that until the engine's dropped in. So we're getting closer and closer to the point of having a running car again. Still loads and loads of work to do, but yeah, that's where we're gonna leave it for this video. All the wires down the side of the car have been tucked. All of the headlights and all front end is wired in. Only thing needs doing on the front end now is the intercooler install, an oil cooler install, and radiator all under the front bumper. Once that's all in, we're pretty much done, apart from dropping things back into the car. So yeah, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you like the video and you love my engine bay, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.